Welcome, everybody. We are coming live from Doola HQ live in New York City, and I am stoked for today's weekly live. As you saw, the topic we're going to cover today, which is probably a bit cliche, but I don't think it's cliche because it's here and it's not going away, is AI for startups. So, what I'd actually like to do is I'm going to run through today how I use AI, how Doola uses AI, and things are moving so fast here, so please comment in the chat if you disagree, and I'd love to hear how you're using AI too. Now, as a reminder for folks, if you have any questions, I check the chat. We'll cover questions live. You can ask anything about AI or Dula or really anything about me, you can ask. And I'll pop questions up. So, for example, how's it going? Peak of internet high. And I agree. Let's dive right in. So, let's dive right in. We're talking today about AI for startups, what we use. Now, AI stands for artificial intelligence. I have a trivia question for folks, and I'm guessing most people don't know this because I didn't know this, and I've quizzed people. A lot of people don't know. Can anyone actually tell me, and don't Google, don't cheat, what the GPT and ChatGPT stands for? Okay, you probably don't know, but it's because I didn't know. A lot of people just say ChatGPT without thinking or knowing what this thing is. But I'll give you about 5 more seconds to think, and you use the honor system if you knew it or not. The GPT stands for Generative Pre-trained Transformer. There you go. I guess it makes sense when you think about it, but GPT is definitely a good acronym versus using that. So that's what ChatGPT stands for, or the GPT stands for. Now, let's dive right in. AI for startups, what do we use? I'm going to actually show, not tell. That's what they teach you in middle school. And I'm going to show you exactly how I actually use AI myself. And this flows into the rest of Doola. So the very first thing is at Doola, something we're being very intentional about is incorporating AI across the entire company. So one of our key results or rocks or objectives for this quarter is to AI augment the Dulia team. So what that means is we're not looking to entirely replace certain functions. We think there's always going to be a human in the loop. But the analogy I like is how can we build the Iron Man suit to put on the Tony Stark, which is our team, and then you turn them into Iron Man. So that's what I think about in terms of AI augmenting Dula. We're really building this AI business in a box. Formation, your bookkeeping, your taxes, all of that is taken care of, and you have a human you can talk to, but it's powered by AI. The processes internally and what you would see externally. So that's the overall guiding philosophy. Now, the way we do that is in every workflow, you could try to go crazy saying, hey, every single action, use AI, use AI. We're trying to say, hey, this quarter, pick one workflow, the most important workflow, and try to embed it in that. So depending on the department, it might be different. Now, in terms of how we're using it, things are moving very quickly. So there's always going to be some exploration. People testing out tools, department testing out tools, new startups launching. So another portion of this is that leads have to spend some time carving out some time to actually intentionally test and try new tools. Now, it can be a bit fatiguing to see a new tool tested, see a new tool tested, but I think that's part of the job now, is you actually have to find and explore these tools and see if there is a tool that you can personally implement. Now, from that, on the personal side, something which I love, and I heard this line, it was actually from Toby from Shopify, is the reflexive usage of AI. So using it as a filter to run things through, not replace, but run things through, and reflexively thinking, hey, is there a way I can use AI to improve? So I'm actually going to show you how I set up my workspace to encourage reflexive usage. Right now I'm sharing, you're an infinity screen, but if I flip over here, you can now see I have a window here called LLMs. So it's not a window, it's actually a tab group in Google Chrome. And from this tab group, I have ChatGPT, I have all my LLMs. I have ChatGPT, I have Google Gemini, and I have Claude. Now, I have one other tab here, which I opened up before this. I don't usually have this tab open, but quite literally, I just have to click this button and boom. I have 3 AI tools ready to go, literally ready to go right here. So what I actually do, and you can tell me if this is crazy or if you do this too, is typically when I have a question, I'll literally ask the question, then I'll copy paste it across all 3 because I kind of want to see what each one says. Now, the other thing too is we have a company workspace. So this is the pro version of Gemini. I have the max paid personal plan for ChatGPT and then the same for Claude. So My thought is I use these tools. I have the paid version, and to me, it's completely worth it because the time savings, you're able to go deeper. I heard an analogy I like. It's kind of like having a 200 IQ person in your pocket. I have three of them. Maybe their IQ is even higher. They have all the access to the world's fingertips. So this is how I set it up quite literally. You can see how I got metrics. And then right here, what I've got is ChatGPT, Gemini, and Claude. Now, the next thing, and I'm actually going to start with, let me actually come back here and let's stop screen sharing here because we're in infinity mode. I'm going to go tab by tab here and show you a couple examples. So let's start off with good old ChatGPT. This is your generative pre-trained transformer. The first thing here is I like, and to tell you the truth, I don't spend too much time thinking here, but you can actually switch the model. So like great for mode tasks for advanced reasoning, O3 Pro, etc. I by default am on this. I guess technically if I'm doing something strategic, I can switch, but candidly, I just usually stay on the default. Now, the other thing you can do is in tools, there's actually new tools launching, but I find deep research actually pretty interesting. So what I'll sometimes do is across each of these tools, they each have a deep research mode. If I am looking to do comprehensive research, I'll do the same thing. I'll actually post in my question and have three tools doing deep research for me. Then I get three different reports that I can read. Again, it's like parallel processing three people with 200 IQ who can help solve a problem for me. The last thing is I don't really use speech on my desktop, but on my phone, I actually like using voice to text and talking in as well. So you can tell me if that's crazy, but I actually just like to parallel run all three at the same time and see what each one's thinking. So same thing here. If I come into Gemini, in this case here, there's deep research. You can change the model up here as well. All around help, reasoning, math, and code. I typically default to the all around help. And then the same thing for Claude. I just default to this typical model. Actually, I'm defaulting to the Opus 4. I guess there's Sonnet as well, and there's more models. So someone can tell me if my model usage is poor there, but overall, that's the way I use it. Now, the next thing I want to share is I want to share the biggest piece of alpha that I found. And these are the two biggest unlocks I found. I'm trying to share this with people because why not share the value? The very first thing is I've found a lot of these tools, they're too nice and they agree with whatever you say. So I found this prompt, which I now use by default as a custom instruction in every project. And if any chat, I usually start with this. Here's the prompt. I have it saved in my clipboard. I'm going to zoom in a bit here so folks can see it. Okay, so if you start with this, be direct with me. I don't want niceness or fake support. I want you to give me hard-hitting knowledge advice and show me where my blind spots are every time I ask a question. If my perspective is wrong, tell me. If there's more information I need for something, tell me. You're my oracle and therapist all in one. Make me a better operator every time I chat with you. Ask me questions before answering so your questions have the most useful context possible. If you do this, you'll find, one, you might be a bit shocked about how direct the tool is, but isn't that what you want? You want to know the truth. You don't want to be sugar-coated or told what you want to hear. No, I want to know the truth. So one piece of advice or alpha here I'll share is put this in before you start chatting. Now, I do like how in your custom instructions, and we'll get into custom instructions when I give you an example of how I use them, but you can also put this into a project or a gem in Gemini. And if this is in your custom instructions, anytime you chat, it's going to be thinking, be direct. Don't want niceness or fake support. I find this so, so valuable for a business use case because in this case here, while I'm going through, it's not going to sugarcoat things to me. It's going to just tell me how it is. Now, I got some feedback here. This is great. Keep it coming. As for your three AI usage, I think Claude is more logical or big brother, and GPT is more of a friend who just agrees with whatever you say. Thank you, Peak of Internet. This is why you got to put this prompt in. I also do think Claude is a bit more direct. GPT can be very like, yeah, of course, that's a great idea. This is a great idea too. So if you put this in, it really helps. So that is the first piece of alpha I would share there. Now, we had another comment or question that came in, which is the guru dropshipping that they teach on YouTube good or feasible as the ad costs are rising and your views on AI copywriting for ads and AI UGC creator? I'll touch on this here. I would actually, if you can clarify I think I know what you mean by what they teach on YouTube, but look, any business model can work. So whether it's the guru teaching dropshipping or the guru teaching how to do affiliate marketing or the guru teaching you how to start a lawn care business, any business can work. if you don't want competition, you should not start a business. So there's going to be competition wherever. Now, I would agree that in any industry, especially even in dropshipping, it's getting harder because previously you would need to be a really good copywriter to write copy. Now you can read a Gary Halpern book, The Boron Letters, and upload that and have that write copy for you. So the bar is getting higher because the floor is increased. It's now been easier, or it is easier than ever, to actually put out copy or create UGC. You don't have to hire a designer now. So that's my take. Is there's going to be competition in anything. If you don't want competition, don't start a business. You can just kind of sit at home and do nothing. That's not a point about sitting at home. That's not what I meant. What I meant is if you don't want competition, don't start a business. There's always going to be competition. Now, let me come back to this prompt. So this prompt is my favorite prompt. Again, I completely recommend putting this in any prompt. I'm going to show this one more time if you just joined. This to me is the biggest piece of alpha I found in terms of prompts. Actually, that's not true. I'm going to show the second prompt now. Paste this in. You can screenshot this right now. We'll come back to this video, but seriously, this prompt will change the way you think about using these tools because it'll just be so direct with you. Shockingly direct. You might not be ready for it, but it will be direct. So that's the first thing. Now, the second thing, I want to show this second prompt, and let's actually switch over. Actually, let's okay, this could be a bit wild because we're live, but let's see what GPT says here. Wow, this is kind of this. Whoa, okay, check that out. So that was a bit scary doing it live because ChatGPT knows a lot about you. Understood. From now on, I'll challenge your assumptions. I'll point out what you're missing. I'll optimize for clarity, strategy, and leverage. I'll ask for context before jumping to answers. Before we go further, what are you working on right now where you feel like you're missing clarity, traction, or leverage? Give me the specific topic or challenge you want to make progress on, and I'll rip it apart and rebuild it with you. I love that. And you know what? Let's actually just do a little test here. And I'm going to see how, in a new chat, how each of these tools actually responds to that prompt. So this is what I'll do. I'll parallel path and just test across all three, and I'll see what each one says. So let's see here. I just did this in Claude. Got it. I'll cut through the noise and give you what you actually need to hear. No sugarcoating, no validation for validation's sake. Before we dive in, what are you working on now? What decisions are you facing? And give me context. What's your domain? What level are you operating at? What does better operator mean? Are we talking business, technical, work, personal, or something else? The more specific you are about where you are and where you're trying to go, the more I can spot gaps. Okay. And last but not least, let's check out Gemini's response here. If you want me to be able to save or delete info, turn on the feature in saved info. Okay, that's cool. So that's like a custom instruction, but global. Understood, I will adopt. Actually, that's probably the best hack is in your global instructions, put this. Direct communication style, prioritizing hard-hitting knowledge, advice, and pointing out potential blind spots or incorrect perspectives. I will also ask clarifying questions to ensure my responses are as relevant and useful as possible. Consider me your oracle and therapist dedicated to make you a more effective operator. What is your first question or area you'd like to discuss? So even if we just look here, let's see if I were to rate these. This is pretty good. I'd say Gemini is pretty good too, but I personally I think I would agree with the comment that came in that Claude does seem like just a bit more direct and comprehensive here. So that's one sample size or one piece of sample size there. But that's my initial thought. Now, we had a comment that came in here. I know we're talking about copy, but I wanted to know, are you doing GEO instead of SEO? Yes. Let's actually touch on that. I'm going to take a quick segue here. So actually, hold on. For the folks listening, and this is what I think is pretty cool. Let's start with what is the difference between SEO and GEO? Explain like I'm 5. Okay. I'm going to merge a concept here. So I said I was going to teach my favorite prompt. Zayed, great question. This is how most people prompt. They just ask the question, the basic 2 lines. So let's actually run a test here. I'm going to, in a chat, I'm going to ask, what is the difference between SEO and GEO? And give me the ultimate GEO framework so that my company ranks on every relevant search. Okay, so this is typically how people will prompt. They will put in a prompt like this and then just click send and send it. So what I'm actually going to do is we'll run this as a live test across all 3 models. I'm going to paste this question in each model, and we're going to see what the initial response is. So I want to show you all an example of what this looks like, where you first put this question in, and we're going to let these run. And then once we let them run, I'm going to open up some new chats here. Once we let them run, I'm going to review the answer, then I'm going to share how I would actually improve this prompt. So this is going to be the second piece of alpha, I would say. So let's actually start off with ChatGPT. This is loading here. And I'm going to open up a clean chat for every single one. And I'm going to ask this basic question here. So again, what I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to share two things. I'm going to explain how we're using or going after GEO, but I'm going to share the second prompt, which is a huge unlock. So the first prompt I shared is using that be direct prompt. The second one here is, watch this. So starting off here, I've now asked this question into each of my LLMs here, and they've given me a playbook. So let's first go through, and I like doing this. Let's see what each of them said. Again, I'm not using deep research here, but this is actually probably where, if I wanted to put this together for Doola, I could use deep research and have each of these run in parallel, put together the plan for me. So the next step here is, let's see, it looks like we have results for everything here. Okay, so check this out. Let's start with GPT. So the difference is here. GEO is rank where you offer it. SEO, rank for what you offer. Keyword targeting, you can see the examples here. Pages needed, service pages, guides, blog content, geo-specific landing pages. Signals used, backlink, content quality, acronym here, local backlinks localized, conversion angle, topical intent, proximity, relevance, reputation. So, identify high intent GEOs, build scalable landing pages, drive local signals, programmatic SEO at scale, track performance by GEO, optimize quarterly, pro tips for dominance. Okay. And then it offers to build a structure. Let's see what Gemini says here. Difference between them. Okay. Key overlap, ultimate GEO, phase one, foundational entity optimization, content optimization, expertise, experience, authoritativeness, trustworthiness, off-page authority, editors. This is okay. And then just to be thorough, I'm going to show this last one here. So this is Claude, ultimate GEO framework, 10-step framework here. So this is what most people do, again, is they'll just take their prompt and fire it in. Now I want to show you the alpha. So I saw this online. I'm sorry who this is who did this, because I'm not giving you credit right here, but I saw this online, and I want to share the prompt that is the killer prompt. This is the prompt, ready, that teaches. This is the prompt where you're using AI to create the prompt. So let me read this out loud here. The formatting's a bit off. You are an elite prompt engineer tasked with architecting the most effective, efficient, and contextually aware prompts for large language models. For every task, your goal is to extract the core user's core intent and reframe it as a clear, targeted prompt. Structure inputs to optimize model reasoning, formatting, and creativity, anticipate ambiguities, and preemptively clarify edge cases. Incorporate relevant domain-specific terminology, constraints, and examples. Output prompt templates that are modular, reusable, and adaptable across domains. When designing prompts, follow this protocol. Define the objective. What is the outcome or deliverable? Be ambiguous. Understand the domain. Choose the right format. Inject constraints. Build examples. Simulate a test run. Refine. Always ask, would this prompt produce the best result for a non-expert? If not, revise. You are now the prompt architect. Go beyond instruction. Design interactions. And then, here's my prompt. Please improve it for me. This is where you put your prompt in. So this is the second massive unlock. Once I started doing this, everything improves. So just to summarize, put that be direct. I start off, you can again do global or custom instructions, but start off with be direct. Then write your prompt like you saw I did, the typical two-liner. And then we're going to take this prompt and put it in here. So now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to copy paste, and I'm going to let each of these models run this prompt. Now let's see what the improved prompt is now. So we'll let this one run here. I'm going to go into Gemini and do the same thing. Let me let all of these run. And we're going to run all of these. I'm literally just copy pasting that same prompt, starting a fresh chat in each so we can compare. Let's go with a new chat here. Let's run that. Okay. And now let's actually see what the prompt is. Okay, so you're a world-class SEO strategist and expert. Task 1, explain the differences, architect the framework. So already here, core principles, prioritization methodology, architecture, SEO stack, constraints, Assume this, must scale, should work across English and non-English, why this is better. You can see all the reasons here. So that's ChatGPT. Let's try out Gemini here. Choose the right format, inject constraints, build examples, refine. Okay, here's the prompt template. As an expert digital marketing consultant specializing. So that's one thing you can notice is that to prompt well, and this teaches you how to prompt well too, starting with giving the persona, and then it splits it into parts. Core areas defined here, constraints and tone, target audience. So very structured and organized. Let's do one more example here. Let's see what Claude said. You were a digital marketing strategist specializing in both traditional SEO and emerging generative engine optimization. So even just from doing this, you'll actually realize how to prompt better. So when you're more casually prompting, you'll always put a, hey, tell the LLM what it is, define the tasks, split it into parts, put in any constraints. What's the format? Now, I like this because it automatically does it and you can refine it. But I find this very helpful. So I hope that answers the question there. But what we're actually doing for GEO is you'll see from some of these things, look, like anyone can, and this is another thing I think is cool about AI, the playbooks are here. Backlinks, social intent, more content, structuring the page. We're doing all of these things. And I do think that a lot of things that are called GEO today, they're still traditional SEO best practices. For example, LLMs are going to look at what are people talking about on Reddit. Google has the forum tab. LLMs are going to look for, hey, what are people saying on social? Are there high domain authority websites where you're ranked? Google also is doing a similar thing too in their algorithm. So I think there's a lot of parallels here. I just do think there's a shift towards, you can see here, I'm by default starting searches on these three models. Before I might have done that on Google. So that's where a shift's happening. That's what we're seeing too. So great question, Zayed. So that's the second thing again, SEO versus GEO. And I strongly recommend using this prompt again. So this is a prompt that uses AI to create your prompts and you get much more powerful prompts. Then what you can actually just do is copy that and run it. So now I just copied the optimized prompt and I pasted it in right there. And I would do the same thing across every model. Now, the last thing I want to share, and this is another piece of alpha that most people don't do. A lot of these things are, I think, pretty basic, but these are huge unlocks. That's what I'm trying to do here is small effort, but big impact. And Zayed, I appreciate the feedback. Appreciate you, Arjun, your tip the other day and putting your phone into airplane mode. Oh, that's a great one too. Separate AI tip, but my phone's in perpetual airplane mode. Right now, I have a personal phone and work phone. It's in airplane mode. So yeah, technically I might miss a call. But I found I haven't really missed anything too important. So I've been doing that for months. A great question here from Peak of Internet. Don't you think that this kills critical thinking? Fantastic question. Here's my thought on this. I think there are simple things where you can run through, but there are certain things, and I found this from testing different prompts. If you're thinking about your business, you can feed in the context, but it's still going to be coming from the perspective of someone who doesn't have your full context. Now, you could argue, hey, I need to do a better job of feeding context. But the way I think about these tools is as an advisor. My goal in anything is I want to do my first thought. And I think a really good forcing function for doing this is something I do weekly. I have this thing called an hour of clarity where I just write. So I'm forced to slow down to the speed of my hand moving, and it's just me thinking. That to me is important where you're actually spending time just using your brain writing. Writing is really important because I think it forces your brain to slow down and it forces clarity of thought. Because you can just ramble when you speak or you can put words on a slide deck, but writing, you have to be very precise. So I do think, and I think there's a study that came out that critical thinking is declining because of these LLMs. Fantastic question here. But I do think that doesn't mean we shouldn't use them. So I think and I'm not saying you're implying this, I think it's the wrong mindset to say, oh, it kills critical thinking, so we shouldn't use them. I think the right answer is, okay, how do we use it without killing critical thinking? So how do we get all the gain without losing things? So that's my approach. Now, the final thing I want to share is a piece of alpha here. This is something which most people don't do, but this will make, so if you incorporate the two prompts I shared, be direct, and then also prompt engineering or using AI to help you create your prompts, this is something else which is huge unlock. So I'm going to show you something I've done here. You can replicate this for any different type of workflow. So I'll give you Gemini as an example. You can create a gem in Claude or in GPT. These are called projects, but you can create a gem which has context on a specific topic. So here I have one called CEO Coach. So I actually have a CEO Coach. And what I did is I put custom instructions in so you can see I have my Be Direct with me. I then have the Working With Me doc and information on who my coach is fed in here too. So I've literally replicated that in. Then I also have a folder here with notes from conversations with him. I then have his context on Doola. So Jim and I can pull directly from our company scorecard with our metrics, our financial model, and then conversations with the leadership team. So I have all of that knowledge in there as my reference. What I can now do, which is so cool, is I can just chat. And it's almost like having my coach right here. And yes, I chat with him live, but I can chat with my coach who has recall to all of his knowledge and feedback he's given me, and then also company information too. So I strongly recommend if you haven't tested out a project, try it. And I'll give you another example. I don't have it right here. I have a fitness coach. So I do the same thing. I have a separate project for any health questions I ask. My workouts in there, my diets in there, feedback that I have a fitness coach too. All of that goes in one project. And it just becomes so powerful because you're building context on top of each other. Great question here, Joseph. Yes, let me actually share in the chat. I'm going to share both these prompts in the chat. So the two prompts, there's Be Direct with Me, prompt 1. I've just shared that too. Now it does say some channels, this might not be shared. So if you are listening and you want to see this prompt and it didn't work in the channel, what we'll do is we'll actually just post this on Twitter later. So I'll share these prompts on Twitter. Actually, you know what? I'll do it right now. As Ben Franklin says, if it takes 2 minutes, so let's just do it now. You can also see I use airplane mode. I have this thing called Newsfeed Eradicator on all these social media apps. 2 AI prompts that changed my life. Okay. So we're going to be, let's do this. Post that. Okay, so ready? Problem. GPT is too nice. Answer. Use this prompt to start every conversation. And this is going to be the Be Direct with Me. Okay, and then problem. My prompts suck. And I don't have time to write a good prompt. Solution, let AI write your prompt for you. And here is that prompt. Okay, so if anyone listening in the chat, if it didn't work, I'm actually just going to post the link to this in the chat, my tweet. So if anyone listening here couldn't access this, you can just go to my Twitter, and I just shared this in the chat too, and you can find these. I just posted them right here. So again, run with them, run wild. And the final thing I want to share again is coming back here. My final takeaways here: use the Be Direct prompt, use the prompt engineering prompt to design your prompts for you, and set up a custom project or a gem. And then have conversations in there. And use these tools as an advisor, not to replace your thinking. Easier said than done, but use it as an advisor. So I like writing to actually force myself to get off tech, to slow down and use that for critical thinking, and then I can get feedback from these tools. That is a wrap for today. We had one more question that comes in here. Newsfeed Eradicator, wow, so where do you go and read your messages and catch up on others you follow? I don't spend too much time catching up on others follow. I guess technically on my phone, I don't have Newsfeed Eradicator there, but I don't have my phones in my pocket when I'm working. They're over here. So typically, to be candid, when I'm checking is if I'm on the stair stepper at the gym or if I'm stretching. So yeah, there's like a block each day when I might quickly scroll through and see. And that's about it there. So that's a fantastic question. Thank you all. If you have any topics or if you enjoyed this topic, we can go deeper next week too. Happy to dive in. There's one more question that came in here. What would you rate your focus on a scale of 1 to 100? How do you increase it? I think it can always get better. I think the easiest way I found to increase focus is to cut out other noise. All of your thoughts are downstream of information. So exercising helps. If you exercise, you actually have more energy. And then knowing my task list the night before. So if it's defined, then I can come in and just get working. And then your brain has like maybe 4 to 6 hours of deep focus work. You can do other work after. So if you have that environment, I would say. So I think my answer here for focus, it can range. There's times when I don't have focus, times I do have focus, but my goal is to always be in as close to 100 as possible. Okay, thank you.